fleet of Aston Martins are going to arrive at a girls' school in Coventry this morning to raise awareness of women working in manufacturing. Well, it'll certainly get people's attention, won't it? Female workers at the Warwickshire-based luxury car maker will be sharing their skills with students at Tile Hill Wood School in so-called speed career dating event. The initiative has been set up by the Inspiring Women campaign, whose founder is international lawyer Miriam Gonzalez Durantez, or Mrs. Nick Clegg, as she's sometimes known. Miriam's with us on the show. Morning.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. You don't mind being called Mrs. Nick Clegg, do you?
No, not at all. I am.
Well,
of course not.
Yeah, you are known for some other things as well, though, other than be the husband of the Deputy Prime Minister. Tell me how you got involved in this, Miriam. How did an international lawyer get involved in Aston Martin and encouraging women into engineering?
Well, I have for a long time been into gender issues and into trying to encourage girls to aim high, and it was last October that we teamed up with Inspiring the Future, which is a fantastic organization that basically brings people to schools to encourage students, to show them the different jobs that are available for them. And I think that it has been a very successful partnership. We have got together a campaign that runs for 1.5 years. It's a national campaign, and we organize this kind of events of trying to bring women from a range of jobs, all sorts of women, all walks of life, coming to talk to girls and to tell them about their lives, their jobs if they work, and to encourage them to aim high and, you know, to share their ambition with them.
Why don't girls know about engineering? I tell you where I don't get it is that, and it doesn't work for me, is that you look at educational achievement, girls against boys, and girls we're led to believe perform better than boys, so they're doing sciences. They're doing chemistry and physics and all of the maths and all of those kind of things. They're good at it. Why do they not think engineering is a career for me then? What happens in the meantime?
Well, I think that there are two issues there. One of them is that we do know, because there are studies already into this, that already by the age of 6, boys and girls start looking at jobs through the gender stereotype. So by the age of 6, when they hardly really distinguish what is a man and what is a woman, they are already thinking that there are some jobs like engineering, for example, that they consider to be men jobs. It's not the only one. It happens the same with surgeons, it happens with footballers, it happens with cab drivers, for example. So there is a whole range of jobs that are being stereotyped in both directions. There are also boys who consider that nursing, for example, is for women, is not for men. So that is obviously something that I think it would be useful for all of us as a society if we destroy those silly stereotypes. I fear that there is also a self-confidence issue, and we are certainly finding lots of girls who tell us, well, science and maths perhaps is not for us. It's considered more of a boys' thing, and I think that it is important that women, like all the fantastic women who work at Aston Martin, just can tell the girls, look, science is for you, engineering is for you, and actually there are lots of very, very good jobs in this sector, so don't rule yourself out before you have even tried.
It's interesting that we take the perspective of female workers, though, isn't it? Because you're automatically turning half the population off to what you're saying. You mentioned there, well, you are, aren't you? I mean, all the men are going, well, it's not for me then, because this is for female workers. It isn't for them.
Yeah. Well, one thing at a time. The organisation Inspiring Future covers both men and women, and they do a fantastic job across the genders. I think that there is an issue in particular in relation to girls and self-confidence and having to look at the whole range of jobs. It is very true that we are being told often, look, perhaps we should do this also for boys, and to bring some of the women in certain professions to talk to the boys. One thing at a time is what I say.
And that's the point, isn't it? Is that we kind of get overbalanced, and I just wonder about. I mean, I speak from a perspective where the man in charge of the BBC at the moment would like to see, ideally, me replaced with a woman, not because of my capabilities, but because of what kind of genitals I've got in my trousers. And you do wonder whether, these kind of ideas, tipping the balance the other way, is as bad, isn't it? Racism, black against white, white against black, they're as bad as each other. Sexism, women against men, men against women, is as bad as each other.
Well, this certainly is not about women against men or men against women. It's about making girls aiming high. And
well, it is, isn't it? Because you've chosen one sex to but you've chosen one sex to champion. So therefore, it is about men against women, isn't it?
Right. What I was going to tell you is that look, you can build this argument in the abstract, and I'm sure that it gives lots of interesting conversations for dinner parties or whatever it is that you want.
Well, you just say that because you're a woman, though. It's not attacking you, so that's fine, isn't it? Yes. So you're easy. That's easy for you to make light of it and think it's all a big joke because it's not attacking you, is it?
Yourself? No, I'm not presenting this as attacking in any direction. The fact is that if you look at the figures, it is a fact that women are not faring well in certain professions. 6% of professional technical engineers, 10% of surgeons, 10% of legal equity partners. So, you can look at it however you wish, but the fact is that the figures speak for themselves. And I think it's frankly rather silly to present this as one sex against the other. There is an issue in society. I think that the better the girls do, the better for the country, really.
You see, I don't know whether you're interpreting the figures in the right way or whether people just think, well, in their genetic makeup, some people like to do some jobs and other people like to do other jobs. Isn't that a possibility as well?
Yeah, and that is fine. I think that the girls should feel completely free to choose whatever they want to do with their lives. It is a pity, I think, if they are limiting themselves because of the stereotypes. And as I have mentioned earlier, the stereotypes, we do know, because this has been properly researched, that plays a role. And it plays a role in both directions. It plays a role limiting the options of the girls and limiting the options of the boys. And it seems to me that if we can all do a tiny bit of effort to ensure that that is not the case, but I cannot think of a better way to spend our time. But I'm perfectly ready to accept that you may disagree.
As a final point, who puts those stereotypes into youngsters? Parents, presumably.
Well, I don't really know where they come from, and
because this is preschool, isn't it?
I'm not even very, inclined to spend a lot of time just understanding where the stereotypes come from. I think that we should just aim to get rid of them and to put our action into just showing to boys and girls that looking at life through stereotypes is not a very clever way to look at life. And, others can research where it comes from.
Miriam, thank you. I'd have thought that's exactly what we want to do, to understand them, is to figure out where they come from, but obviously not. Miriam Gonzalez Durantez there, who's an international lawyer who's part of that day today where they're going to get a fleet of Aston Martins to try and encourage girls to go into engineering. I wonder what they'll say to the boys if they get interested.